I'm Gab, he's Jules. Blue skies over West London? I don't know. I didn't really check because it's deadline day, Jules. Now, we'll put the disclaimer at the top. We're only going to talk about moves that we think are done and that we know are done. But we'll have plenty to talk about on Thursday. So please don't be disappointed if we don't talk about your club's late dealings, because by the time you listen to this, who knows? But we got to start at the top, though, because Liverpool and Arsenal, most people have them down as kind of the two co-favorites. Big clash. These points matter later in the season because they're head-to-head. Dominik Szoboszla, some magic at the end. I thought, looking at this game, I said, all right, this has turned into the kind of game that will be decided either by a moment of magic or skill or by a mistake, whether by the referee or players. I was right, wasn't I?
Yeah, that's what Arteta said after the game too. I mean, it was pretty obvious that they cancelled each other out for most of that game, looking for that control, especially in midfield. Big battle won by Arsenal in the first half. Probably won a bit more by Liverpool in the second half. I thought the changes from Slot, especially Curtis Jones for McAllister, worked, to be fair. And the free kick is obtained by Curtis Jones on that rare piece of verticality from Liverpool, and that ball from Van Dijk to Curtis Jones between the lines. So that worked, but yeah, there was just not much at all between the two teams. And yeah, we could say they should have attacked more and they could have done more in the final third, which is true. But also, you could see that they didn't want to take too many risks. Again, that search for control.
So my overall takeaway from this is that when Slot and Arteta look at this, they say, my team, this is not my team yet. This is not the team I want. And I think we see it because these teams are developing and also because they're still making signings. Now, with the caveat that these aren't official yet, we are pretty sure that Alexander Isak will be a Liverpool player and Piero Hincapié will be an Arsenal player. And we're going to break this down further later on. But with that in mind, the fact that Liverpool took 2 shots on goal in the first half, neither one on target. I think the XG was like 0.11 at halftime, something like that. I mean, yeah, Arsenal, you can say we're more defensive. Some people slam them for being negative. They have the alibi, or they obviously no Saka, no Odegaard. I would add no Kai Havertz, who I think in a game like this would have fit really well. No who?
And no Eze either.
Eze on the bench, obviously just arrived. But this isn't good from Liverpool, is it?
It was difficult. I think Arsenal made it really difficult for them, and this is still a team that is finding its feet. Wirtz is not at his best yet, and struggling a little bit to find his place in that team and have the influence that he should have. I think Salah is nowhere near at his best either. Ekitike had 2 passes in 80 minutes. 2 passes, 8 touches for Ekitike in 80 minutes.
Big Swedish shadow over him.
But not even so much that. I don't think Isak would have done much better in a game. It was just not a game for number 9s. For Ekitike to touch the ball 8 times once every 10 minutes, this is long without you finding your number 9. So this what happens when you play against 2 teams that are so strong in midfield, especially, and defensively, because Konate, Van Dijk, and to be fair, Mosquera and Gabriel were good as well. Saliba's injury very early on didn't seem to impact Arsenal too much, maybe a little bit in the build-up phase because Mosquera is not as comfortable on the ball. But yeah, it's one of those games that was so cagey, so tight, quite interesting tactically, but as we said, just it's decided on some pure magic.
Saliba, Odegaard, Saka, not lost on anyone. Arguably Arsenal's 3 best or 3 most important players. I take your point about the game being cagey, and people watch it says it's like a chess match. Obviously, others who watch the game say, well, this is kind of dull. We've seen Liverpool in the past under Klopp, when faced with those situations, they raise the tempo, they put the ball in the mixer, they take more shots from distance. They're okay with losing possession because it's an opportunity to win it back. I feel like this is not something that we saw from them on Sunday. And that's just an approach. It's nothing to do with Arsenal, right? Is this down to the fact that McAllister, I don't think, is fully fit yet? That Salah is off? That there's little tweaks that maybe with Wirtz playing deeper or playing in that role that he's in, you don't necessarily are as comfortable in covering the spaces?
Yeah, and I also think that, and Slot mentioned it after the game, they had conceded 4 goals in 2 games before that, against teams that you would expect them, okay, Bournemouth and Newcastle are good teams for sure, but it's still 2 games where defensively the performance was just not good enough, simply not good enough. And I think they wanted to fix that for this game. They knew probably Arsenal would use a lot their wingers, and we saw that. But I thought Liverpool wanted to defend better for this game, whatever that meant. They would have taken the 0-0 draw easily, I think.
Yeah, we're going to break this down further on the Gab and Juls podcast. But let me add, Arsenal could have easily had their own smash and grab. I don't know if Jules agrees, but we'll discuss that on the Gab and Juls podcast. All right, Jules, I will pose my question to you.
Yeah.
Again, Arteta, from a lot of pundits, got stick for this approach. I don't have a problem with it in this game because you have people who haven't played together. But they could have nicked this game. I thought the Madueke chance in the first half was maybe the only chance that we saw in the first 45 minutes, real chance.
Yeah.
But it feels to many that kind of Arsenal's issue the last 2 years maybe has been a little too much of this kind of defend and counter, set pieces. There was a stat about, I don't know, it's only 3 games, but their expected goals from open play this year is the second lowest in the Premier League after Sunderland.
Yeah.
We give him a pass because of the injuries and because of the signings that have come in still need to settle, like Eze and Madueke, right?
Yeah.
And
also,
Gyökeres, of course.
Yeah, and I mean, a game like this with the midfield like Marino, Zubimendi, and Rice, the lack of creativity will obviously be obvious. And it was both, I think, the players missing, as we said, Saka.
What was up with Ranieri in this game?
No, but I think now he's the backup to Odegaard, and I just think that because of the approach Arteta wanted, he wanted a stronger midfield to dominate there. Hence why Marino started ahead of him, which would be the case, I think, in those games if Odegaard can't play.
I appreciate it will be the case. I do wonder. I know we're kind of second guessing, right? But if the other team plays a half fit McAllister, Gravenberch, and Florian Wirtz in midfield, I would have thought that Rice, Zubimendi, they match up very well, and they match up maybe even better with those two.
Yeah.
And then Ranieri would maybe give you some of that creativity. You said that, something Marino's a bad player, but
no, but
in a
you're
game,
right. Yeah.
In a game like this, especially given the Gyökeres situation. Obviously, Gyökeres didn't get much service at all.
No.
And again, understandable, cagey, everything you want. But we've also seen Gyökeres kind of, because he's a big dude, but he can also move once he builds momentum. Some of those through balls from Ranieri, I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
I think that's what he's going to have to weigh up. I think for this game, the strategy was fine. Other situations, we need to see that dimension from Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eze already, and both when Eze and Odegaard came on, and I know the last 10 minutes they were behind, so they had to attack more to try to come back in it. But you saw already there's a good moment for Eze where I think he takes too long to even try to shoot, and I'm not sure if he knows Gomez is coming back or he's just waiting and just is not just sharp enough there. But yeah, already you saw the difference they made. There's 3 or 4 moments in the game overall when Arsenal have a higher XG than Liverpool yesterday in the game. It's not much. It's 0.45, which is one of the lowest XG Liverpool have had at home in a very long time in the league, and 0.55 for Arsenal. So they're slightly ahead. But again, it shows what happened on the pitch in the game. But yeah, on another day, it reminded me a lot of an Arsenal City game from not last season, the season before, where it was 0-0 for 18 minutes, and then there's a shot by Martinelli deflected by Ike in the goal, and then that was it. It was very much where you cancel each other out and you try to dominate that midfield, and you don't have much going forward with the ball because of that, because you're very cautious too. So it's Arsenal will have to do better. Last season we said that already. The bit lack of creativity with all the players missing and injured, and maybe the search for control in ahead and in priority of anything else, which I think can be very counterproductive at times.
All right, I'm going to put a lineup together for you, okay? Kepa, White, Mosquera, Hincapie, or the other way around, Lewis Skelly, Norgard, Marino, Ranieri, Madueke, Eze, Havertz.
Is it no Trossard?
Well, there's no room for Trossard unless I need to.
Martinelli then. But Eze has to be in the first team.
Okay, you want to put Eze in the first team? Fine.
Yeah.
Martinelli, right? You see where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
and there's no room even for Trossard or for Kivior or some of these other guys. That is Arsenal's second 11.
Yeah.
Now, I know these things kind of go in spurts, in cycles, right? You have managers saying, we've heard this from Pep, like, oh, no, I only want like sort of a core of 13, 14 players plus some youngsters. Others saying, no, I want 2 guys for every position.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's cyclical in the sense that, you know, they want the smaller squad that they can work with, and then they get a bunch of injuries, things don't go well, and then 2 guys for every position. There's no question Arsenal now are absolutely loaded with players. And that's not really a position I feel that Arteta has been in.
That's true. This is the more depth he's ever had, for sure.
Is this going to be a challenge, especially when, you know, you've got more options, but you've got different options? And I always say this: it's fine to have depth, but you really need to have a hierarchy of your best 11.
Yeah.
And when I look at Arsenal's best 11, the only positions that feel maybe a little bit up for grabs are left back. You can argue Calafiori, Lewis Skelly.
Yeah.
And then maybe the other wing position on the Martinelli side, Martinelli, Eze, whoever you like, right? And then obviously Gyökeres, Havertz should be up for grabs. I don't know if it is. So he has that hierarchy.
Yeah.
But how do you keep the other? Is it going to be a challenge to manage other players?
Yeah, true. And, you know, people not being happy because they don't play enough and things like that. But already White is injured, so Kivior is on his way out. But White is injured. Saka is injured, Odegaard was not fit, Havertz is injured, Gabriel Jesus is injured. So already you have...
we even mentioned Gabriel Jesus.
No. But already you have there...
as long as people... It's a weird paradox, right? Because as long as people are injured, others play. But then, you know, you've got so many big games, especially... Even I'm thinking, people say, oh, there's the Champions League. Yeah, but you screw a couple games up in the Champions League, and then you want to put your best team out there so you can finish in the top 8. So there's
probably games where Saka doesn't have to play, and unlike last season when he was fit, where you felt like he needs to play, otherwise the team will suffer from him not being on the pitch. This time, I think you can, and that depth enables you for a bit more rotation when you go away in the Champions League on a Wednesday and have to play on a Saturday, for example, or something like that in the league, away from home. Then you have that option if you want to, which he didn't have really before.
Hincapié, he can obviously fill different positions.
Yeah.
Is the thinking there? Is he going to compete for a starting position?
Yeah, I think so. I love that. You still have to find, and Calafiori has done really well in that position. But as we mentioned a lot on the show, he's injury prone. So we'll have to see. Hincapié, you still have to find the best left back to play with Eze ahead of him, because as we know, Eze comes inside a lot. Really, the idea would be an overlapping fullback, which is not really on that, and that's not really what Arteta does on that side anyway either. So it'd be very interesting to see Hincapié can play as left back, can play as centre back, left-footed. Obviously, Kivior is going to Porto, so he will be there. It's a good market opportunity more than anything else, I think, in terms of do they really need him.
And we're going to discuss this further once the terms come out and are confirmed. Over on the Liverpool side, obviously they have a lot of players. I feel like Liverpool probably have more of a hierarchy, and we'll discuss Isak more later. But before we get to Isak, I want to go back to Florian Wirtz, because we had this sort of fundamental disagreement about where he should be playing and where he will be playing long term. Jules, I have to say, in this game, I thought he was almost ghost-like. He had a couple moments. He had the shot in the second half. He had a couple dribbles. But this is your club's record signing.
Yeah, he's tough. But he's struggling a bit.
Is it the position? Because I feel like when you have him there, and you've got the 2 twin Gorgons of Rice and Declan Rice, I thought had a great game.
Yeah.
Of Rice and Zubimendi there, he's not going to find space. So then you find him having to go deeper to get the ball in.
Yeah, I mean, that's where he wants to play. That's where he was told he was going to play.
But is that the right place for him to play, in your view?
I think this is where you can use him at his best. Then he's not at his best now. And I think this is like we said, this is a team that's still finding his feet and trying to find the best way of using him, and Salah and Gakpo, Ekitike, whoever you want, McAllister in the same team with one ball. And Isak coming in will not help either, because you just add another layer of adaptation and integration and everything. It will work eventually, but for now, I think he works hard, to be fair, and I think he knows he should do better. He should impact the game more than what he did yesterday on Sunday with the ball, certainly. because I think the talent is there.
No,
It's just
there's
finding.
no question the talent's there.
It's just finding. Is Ekitike the right number 9 for him? Would Isak be better for him? I think Isak and Ekitike are quite similar in the sense that they are just so good all around. They can do everything. They can probably even play as a 10. They can even play together, and one is a most advanced, the other one is a bit deeper. And in that case, you don't need really Wirtz, or he doesn't fit there. So I don't know. It's more work for Slot to still find the best position for all those pieces in the jigsaw.
Yeah, I just think in a year in which you made so many changes to your team, then taking a record signing and having him learn a new position, which is
There can't be too many changes, right? You can't go from a team where you had no new signings and it was exactly the same team than the year before, or big Gravenberch new position, to changing potentially. Let's say if he wants to play Gehi instead of Konate, if Gehi signs, you'll have a new right back, a new centre back, a new left back, a new 10, a new 9, and potentially in Ekitike, a new, let's say, left side player.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of new starters.
I imagine if Gay comes, he's going to be a rotational player, and that's good. I mean, this is a player that they really need.
Yeah.
I want to touch upon Szoboszla because he seemed almost Trent-like at times.
Yeah.
I think he had more touches than I think only Van Dijk had more touches than he did, but it's normal for a center back, and it was only a couple more.
Yeah.
So super influential from the right back position, stepping into midfield. We saw him spray some long passes, Trent style, and obviously that was also. Then again, we also saw him, and he's a guy who runs all day, he just doesn't run very fast.
Yeah.
And we saw Madueke take it to him several times. What I don't follow here in the logic is, do we think he is a long-term option at right back, considering how different he is from Frimpong, who's presumably signed to play that position and who's going to be back in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Arsenal maybe missed a trick a little bit. And I know Martinelli is out of form and out of confidence, but surely you would have targeted him more than Madueke on Kerkez on the other side, or going through Gyökeres against Van Dijk and Konate. But they didn't really do it. He had one go at him in the first half, and then Szoboszlai defended well, and then that was pretty much it. I just don't think long-term. Well, certainly not in the top games. Maybe in some games where you'll have 70% of the ball and the opposition is not going to attack you too much, you can. And if Konate is at his best, to be fair, behind Szoboszlai or next to Szoboszlai, then you could probably go for it, and Konate can try to cover that side too. So it'd be very interesting. But I agree with you. I thought Szoboszlai had an amazing game.
Final thought, Mohamed Salah, monster season last year, big contract extension, hasn't really kicked into gear yet this season. No. Any reason whatsoever why Liverpool fans should be concerned?
No.
Because Federico Chiesa's there.
Yeah, of course. There's Chiesa. If you need an alternative. It's a slower start than I expected, to be fair, although I've said from the beginning that I think the arrival of Wirtz and this team playing differently and having Wirtz there in that 10, I thought was always going to impact Salah and Salah's form and Salah's how Salah would get the ball and how influential or not it would be. Same with the departure of Trent, and that's exactly what's happening for now. But he's not going to last. He's going to be back to his best soon.
All right, enough Liverpool. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, guys.
Barcelona are held away to Rayo Vallecano 1-1 in a game in which VAR malfunctioned and stopped working.
How is that possible?
Jules, this wasn't good.
No, it wasn't good. They should have lost that game. Really, they got a penalty that was never a penalty. That was given by the referee. And because there was no VAR for the first half in that game, or pretty much so.
There is one angle where you can kind of make the case a lot more.
No, not for me at all. I think.
Lamine Yamal, by the way, won and converted the penalty.
Yeah, I think he was looking for it and got. I think it was very, very soft, very lucky. The referee apologized to Izzy Palazón at halftime, the Rayo Vallecano captain, by saying, I made a mistake, I'm sorry, that was never a penalty. Which I think is good for the referee to come up and to say that, to apologize.
Can I ask a question? What's he basing it on? If the VR is malfunctioning, did he see a replay? Then why did you give the penalty?
Well, yeah, I think he probably in between. So, at the break,
VR that wasn't working?
No, but at the break, he had screening. He's got screening in his dressing room or something on a terrible pitch, which, to be fair, doesn't suit Rayo and the way they play either, because they're a really good team that plays really good football with a lot of intensity, and they do a lot of pressing and a lot of running, and for that you don't need a good pitch, but with the ball. But yeah, not good from Barcelona, who really I think should have lost that game.
Good news is they signed Rooney Bargi.
Yeah, they've registered him.
They were able to register him, and Yeah, the fact that John was the man of the match tells you everything you need to know.
Exactly. Manchester City collapsed in the last half hour where Brighton, Gab, on Sunday. You said Pep shouldn't worry after the Spurs defeat. Do you think he should be worried now?
Tiny bit. Okay, I need to modulate this. Erling Haaland could have had a hat trick in the first half.
Yes.
He could have had 4 goals in the first half, right? They absolutely mullered them in the first half. So then you go in at 4-0 up, look, everything's great. And then it doesn't really matter what happens afterwards. So again, tendentially, I would say, do not worry. You created the chances for Haaland and whatever else. Defensively, you need to sort some things out. I don't need to see so much of Kusanov, frankly, at this stage of the season. I think it's a nice experiment. I don't understand why he dropped Ruben Diaz, then he brings him on. I don't understand these changes. The penalty was correct, but stupid. Yeah. I don't know what kind of brain fart he had. So all these things put together, you could say there's still teething problems. So yeah, in that sense, you need to worry a little bit. And I would worry too about the lack of reaction.
There's no leadership to that team, I think.
But that's got to come from the manager. You say leadership.
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
I mean, you've got Rodri, you've got Mr. Ballon d'Or Rodri, you've got Bernardo Silva. Rodri not happy at all after the game.
No. But
so he needs to manage the situation.
It's the same mistakes that you see from last season. They lost at Brighton last season in this copycat game. Exactly the same, and they just haven't gone better since.
By the way, James Trafford was very good, even as not confirmed yet as we record this, but it looks as if Gigio Donnarumma is on his way over.
Yeah.
Not great from Spurs either, Jules. They fall at home to Bournemouth 1-0. But Thomas Frank comes out and praises their heart and effort.
I mean, I didn't see the heart and the effort. I won't lie. I don't know where this is coming from Thomas Frank. They were dreadful from start to finish. They were outplayed, outrun. He was outsmarted by Andoni Iraola. I just don't know where the heart and effort comes when they did nothing. They could have played, I think, 10 hours. They would not even have a shot on target.
They took their first shot in minute 55.
It was a disgrace of a performance, I thought.
But it's funny because sometimes you have stick, sometimes you have carrot. With Big Ange, it would have been stick. I guess Thomas Frank is more carrot. He said afterwards, our attacking players didn't have the best day. It's not okay, but it's normal. Or it's
not normal. but you know what? The worry was always with him, to be fair. You go away to City where you run a lot, you press well, you're aggressive, no problem. I think this is great. When you have 60% of the ball, like in this game, you don't know what to do with it. There was just no patterns of play.
You did like the 0.00 XG?
They didn't know what to do. Kudus has played 3 league games now. He hasn't had a shot on target in 3 games. He's your biggest threat.
Well,
and speaking with Spurs, Gabby, Xavi Simons was unveiled on Saturday in that game against Bournemouth. How much is he going to help? And are you a fan? Is this a good move? Is that most expensive player?
Yeah, so hopefully he'll be more important than Kudus. He can do more things than Kudus. I think in terms of the creativity, he can be used in different ways. He's not coming off the best season at Leipzig, but there's a talent there. I think with Madison out for the season and with Kulusevski, he's injured now. He'll be back at some point, but still, he's going to help if you use him correctly. And I don't know how easy he's going to be to integrate in this team. But yeah, overall, the other thing though, he does feel like sloppy seconds given that they thought they were getting Eze.
Yeah.
Jules, we're not done because we have more quick hits. Real Madrid are 3 for 3 after beating Mallorca 2-1. Jules, 3 points clear of Barcelona, 7 clear of Atleti. But this still feels like an individual talent winning them games rather than Xabi Alonso tactical mastery.
Yeah, they went behind as well. And after that, there was a bit of reaction. They had 3 goals disallowed for offside. They were rightly disallowed, by the way. But it just, didn't feel that the flow was there. I felt it's a win. And there was a moment in that game where they controlled well that midfield. And you could see they were really solid. But the other games where it just was not happening with the ball. Maybe it's normal because it's still very early on in the season. He needs more time. We saw Trent back at right back ahead of Carvajal, so a change there. And Vini back starting too, by the way, and scoring and doing well. So we'll see. There will be tougher games than Mallorca, though, to be fair. And I thought towards the end as well, there's one big block from Carreras on the line. Otherwise, that goes in and that's a draw, and it's a very different narrative then.
Exactly.
Chelsea beat Fulham 2-0, but Gab, the talk is all about that Josh King disallowed goal.
Yeah, and again, for those...
Were you there?
I was
What view
there.
did you have from where you were? Or it was just too difficult to see?
So it was at the other end, the
Right.
foul. But I watched the replay. And again, for those who didn't see it, Rodrigo Muniz has the ball, wins the ball. And in getting his balance, he puts his foot down on Trevor Chalobah,
Yeah, like a
who
360
was
turn,
behind
yeah.
him. And he steps on his foot. Now, the VAR, Salisbury, sends the referee, Rob Jones, to disallow. And then meanwhile, Josh King goes up the other side. Josh King, by the way, is phenomenal.
Yeah, great
phenomenal
talent.
young player. Goes and scores. So there's a very long VAR review, and the goal gets disallowed. Now, it's a terrible decision. Credit to PGMOL for saying it's a terrible decision. The fact that you have possession of the ball and there is a guy behind you, how you can think that that's a foul ever.
I don't know where else he could put his foot to be fair.
So they need to take action against the referee too.
So Salisbury was supposed to be the VAR for the Liverpool Arsenal
Yes.
game and was just,
And he was
I don't know how you say it.
he was dropped. He was
dropped. Yeah, that's it.
Um,
But Rob Jones didn't have to change his mind, right? He could have gone to the screen
No.
and said, actually, guys,
no.
I don't think this is a foul, so...
You go to Rob Jones and you say, first of all, they need to release a transcript. What did Rob Jones and Salisbury say to each other?
Yeah.
Because if Rob Jones doesn't recognize that, then he should be dropped too.
Yeah,
And then come back.
Yeah,
Learn
I
from
think
it.
he should
We
be
all make
dropped.
mistakes, but this
Yeah,
is a major
yeah.
mistake. And this had a huge impact on the game because this took so long. Then it was like 9 minutes of or 8 minutes of time added on, and sort of in the 9th minute of that, Chelsea score. Chelsea, who, by the way, I think to that point had created almost nothing. Fulham played really, really well, and then Chelsea had a second in the second half. There is a lot for Chelsea to sort out. That ugly Palmer dependency comes sneaking back in.
Yeah.
Obviously, Liam Delap getting injured as well. But sticking with Chelsea, the Alejandro Garnacho saga is finally
Yes.
over. £40 million. This makes sense, Chelsea?
Well, they had Gittens on that left-hand side. They wanted another left winger, right-footed.
Yeah, they made a point of saying, "Oh, we want another right-footed left winger." I'm like, okay.
And
Now you
this
got two of them.
Garnacho that they wanted from the beginning.
You had Nico Jackson too.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
We'll talk about Nico in a bit. But yeah, Garnacho, they wanted him from the beginning, and yet it took them until August 30th to sign him, which I don't know if that says more about United or Chelsea or a bit of both, but they got him. Let's see how well he did, because right now we can discuss him until he plays and does well or not well or average. We can't really judge. I like Garnacho. I've always liked him. He's still raw, I think.
As is Gittins.
As is Gittins, you're right, absolutely. So let's see. And while that game was happening, Nico Jackson was on his way to Munich on a private jet just to learn that with the Delap injury, Chelsea were like recalling that loan.
Yeah, I wonder how Pedro Neto feels about all this.
Yeah,
She's like, "What's wrong with me? Do I smell?" No, whatever.
Inter fall at home to Udinese 2-1 in quite a pretty crazy game on their home debut. Gab and Juls are already out for Christian Kivu.
Yeah, look, you're replacing Simone Inzaghi, who is really, really good coach, and Kivu has different ideas, and he's not going to go plug and play. And people were sort of criticizing him for some of his substitutions, sending on all the strikers at the end to get back into the game. Oh, that's something Mourinho would have done. Not Inzaghi. Well, he's not Inzaghi.
Yeah.
He has to survive. He has to live or die based on his own view of football. And I think you have to accept that. And everybody going, "Oh, sky's falling. Get a grip."
They
I
had
think
80% possession in that second
they're
half.
gonna be fine.
37 crosses.
Yeah, 37 crosses. They had the
lot of
DiMarco
crosses.
disallowed goal. Hey, come on, guys, seriously. A late Bruno Fernandes penalty gives Manchester United a 3-2 win over Burnley. Jules, Ruben Amorim says this is not a turning point.
It can't
I
be.
tend to agree.
It can't be. The problems are way deeper than struggling to beat Burnley. And to be fair, before United fans abuse us, the first half was really good. Or certainly the first half hour, they could have been 3-0 up easily. They were intense. They pressed well. They recovered the ball. You could see they were hungry. That's great. Yet, the game doesn't last just half an hour. It lasts 90 minutes. And over those 90 minutes, they let Burnley back in. They gave Burnley easy goals, not tracking players, making mistakes, buying the in goal, all of that. And they were very lucky to score that late penalty win, because there's no need for Anthony to pull the
Amad
shirt
Diallo.
of Amad Diallo there. When you've got Hartman, I think, his left back who's there covering. You've got another centre back. It's a silly, silly foul. good for Bruno and Amorim to win and United, but yeah, the issues are still there very much.
As we record this, and again, who knows what's going to happen deadline day, but of course they're linked with Emi Martinez. And I would just like to know, clarity of thought. Weren't they going to sign the Belgian guy, Lemons, and then all of a sudden this, and Onana's still there, and Binder's there, and still sucks when he plays? Come on, guys.
But at least Martinez will address the issue of leadership and a good goalkeeper. They need a strong goalkeeper for that defense, and he is that. So I think this is good if it happens. The good news for the Rasmus Højlund haters is that he's gone from Manchester United. His new club, Napoli. So Andre, Frank, Zambo, and Gisa nailed the 3-pointer at the buzzer really late, and Napoli beat Cagliari 1-0. Gab, do we get a sense of deja vu in there?
Yeah, that's right. Zambo Anguissa, 364 days ago, doing the same thing. That was against Parma last year. But the thing is, this is a different Napoli team. This is a Napoli team that I think they could have scored sooner. I think they're playing better. I think they have more options. They're just a notch above where they were last season. Is Højlund going to help that? I don't know. Obviously he's there because of the Lukaku injury, 6 million loan fee, 44 million euros, which obligation to buy, unless they fail to qualify for the Champions League, which I don't think is going to happen. I don't know. Højlund does not necessarily feel like a Conte guy to me.
No, yeah.
Wild stuff for Paris Saint-Germain as they win 6-3 at Toulouse. João Neves bags a hat-trick, 2 overhead kicks. Both of them, I think, fairly straightforward overhead kicks, to be fair.
I was more impressed. Not the second one.
I was more impressed with his third goal. Lucas Chevalier saves a penalty twice. Yeah. And the goals they concede are irrelevant garbage time stuff. Or are they?
Yeah, no, I think they were. They're still tired to play the whole
Club
90
World
minutes.
Cup. Yeah, we keep blaming the Club World Cup. What?
I mean, they've only been training since for 23 days. They had no training before that. So, and the changes as well made, you could see. But well done to Toulouse for to keep going. Really, in the end, PSG were 3-0 up after 15 minutes for the first time ever in a league match, which was an incredible start. João Neves with the 2 overhead kick. You're right. The first one is just falling, and then the ball goes over his head. The second one, he chests up to then much higher up in the air to do the overhead kick. Wonderful. And Lucas Chevalier, first save on the penalty, been retaken. We're not really actually sure why, because I think there's an impeding in the box, one player.
I think so. The commentator said, Chevalier moved too early. I don't think it was that.
No,
I think it was a Paris Saint-Germain player running into the box.
I think that was João Neves. And then he saved the second one because he knows that Caceres is going to go in the middle, so he doesn't move, and the ball hits his chest and goes back out. So, pretty good. A great entertaining game for what was an amazing weekend in Ligue 1 with so many goals.
Hugely one-sided, I thought.
Yeah.
Really, and I was disappointed in Toulouse.
Yeah, you're right. But PSG were almost back to their best, I think. He did it again. Dusan Vlahovic comes off the bench for Juve and pops up with a header that gives them a 1-0 win away at Genoa in a tough game. Gabi's staying. Colomani isn't coming back. But Luis Openda is on his way in, or might be on his way in.
Yeah, and as I discovered, Filip Kostic still around too. Yes. It's like when your dinner repeats on you. No, look, I said it along. Keep Vlahovic. He is your best option. He's in a good place right now. Whether he comes off the bench or whether starts doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Openda's going to help. They got he's doing his medical right now. We assume it's going through, and they got Mr. Zarova as well to add a little bit more width and creativity.
Good opportunity for them.
Jose Mourinho has been sacked by Fenerbahce after failed to get past Benfica and qualify for the Champions League.
Yeah, I think if you add up all the compensation that you got after being sacked from all the clubs that is being sacked, I think you near 100 million euros. So for you being bad and
you're being a hater.
I'm not. Gab, he's been sacked and made 100 million euros from being sacked from jobs. It's like you not being good and ESPN sacking you and saying like, here you go, $100 million. This is bonkers.
I mean, like he's been places where he's made connections with the fans, like at Roma, and he's been able to ride that. Some of these things he said, though, at the end of last season, he's in Turkey, right? So Turkish people are very proud of their heritage and culture, so they should be. Yeah. And he says, in the last 7 years, I reached more European finals than Turkish football has in its history. I think it was Galatasaray who reached one. Yeah, dude, not helpful. Not helpful.
helpful at all.
And then,
not helpful at all.
they point out to him how important the Benfica game is to Fenerbahce's books, and he says, and he complains, of course, of what else? Oh, not enough signings, and he says, I don't think Fenerbahce even have a transfer list. Now,
He wants to come back to England. He's in England now because he traveled and he's got his house still in London, so not far from yours. Actually, he's a bit your neighbor.
I think he's actually in Belgravia.
Oh, I thought he was still near you. I thought.
No, you know who my neighbor is? Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, I know, but I thought he was not far from you either. So you might see him.
But it's not a good week for former Manchester United managers either, with obviously Solskjaer, Ten Hag, and now Jose.
Yeah. The Seattle Sounders win the Leagues Cup in the US, beating Inter Miami 3-0 in the final last night. But Gab, this was overshadowed by the brawl at the end and Luis Suarez appearing to spit at a member of the Sounders coaching staff.
So my first instinct on this was, well, at least he didn't bite him. Look, there's several ways to look at this, right? You can say, oh, look, all these old guys have all this money and we think they're all holidaying in Miami just for fun. They actually still care.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of embarrassing, this whole thing.
They were frustrated by the defeat, I guess, right?
You're frustrated, but you're an adult.
So, yeah, I know.
It was just such an ugly brawl. And it's not like, but it was also so theatrical. So Sergio Busquets pushes some guy. At some point, he throws himself to the ground as if he's dead. And, Busquets is a pretty mild-mannered guy. When Busquets wants to be dirty, he'll be dirty, but it'll be very understated.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing in this whole thing is the whole time, Messi's just watching the brawl, and he's like hugging some dude from Seattle, right? He's just like watching this. Like, guys, learn from Messi. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, really not worth it. But anyway, big shout out to Seattle Sounders.
Yeah, well done to them. Great win.
Atletico de Madrid have yet to record a win. They drew 1-1 at Alaves, and really, had the rules been applied correctly, Jules, that should have been a loss because Giuliano Simeone gets a handball, and it's obvious just before he shoots on goal.
Yeah.
What's going wrong for El Cholo?
I thought everything, Gab, watching that game, to be fair. I'd watched the games before, but not with the, this time I was properly focused and I just could not find any positive. I mean, I guess the fact that they didn't lose it, yeah, maybe. But this is Alaves we're talking. It's not one of the, it's not like if they were struggling against Real Madrid or Barcelona or even Villarreal or Athletic Club or, teams in form. I just don't know. And, from one game to another, I don't think he seems to be trying to find solutions and changing things. It's pretty much the same system and the same people. And I don't know. I'm really worried. It's not that I'm worried. I just don't really understand.
Yeah, it's obviously a lot of new signings this summer.
I get that.
But they just seem so tame, which is not
completely
what you'd expect.
Yeah. Derby time for Bayern after the poor performance in midweek in the Pokal. Gab, they go from 3-2 up to scrapping a 3-2 win at Augsburg.
3-0 up even.
3-0 up, yeah.
So I think their XG in this game was 4.24, something absurd.
Yeah, they could have
like
scored
that.
More.
Some ridiculous misses. Luis Diaz, candidate for miss of the
After
season.
30 seconds as well.
Yeah, inside of 30
Incredible.
seconds. I'm going to say the same thing. The problems that they have that they're displaying thus far are that they need better finishing other than Harry Kane because the others they just shoot the ball all over the place. Luis Diaz could have had 5 goals.
I mean, that Olise goal is a bit special, even if the keeper should do better.
So, and then they need more defensive solidity. And I think you can coach your way to that. Jonathan Tah, just think you can drop him in there and all of a sudden it's going to work. No, it's going to take more time. But I think they have the tools in Tah and Upamecano. Stanisic, he's not going to be playing left back once Alphonso Davies is there, but at least he's reliable. Sasha Boy, terrible when he came on again. But, those are things that you can coach your way out of. Do they need more depth? And do they need, that's what we talked about, the Nico Jackson situation earlier and what's happening there. They definitely need a body, and I think Nico would actually be a good fit if they can pull this off. Newcastle are held 0-0 at Leeds, but never mind.
Borussia Dortmund.
Oh no, sorry, this is a good one. Borussia Dortmund rolled to a 3-0 win over Union Berlin. Sergio Guirassy misses a sitter, another bad miss.
Yeah,
but then normality returns.
Yeah, he scored 2 goals. I love the second one, the flick. And the 1-2 with Max Bayer, and then a lovely, lovely little ding to finish on his left foot. Union, to be fair to them, had chances and played quite well. It was a very open game. But yeah, big win for Dortmund at home. I think they needed that. Newcastle are held 0-0 at Leeds United and didn't play well at all. But never mind that, because Voldemort has signed.
That's right, Nico Voltemade. Hey, we've touched upon this before. I'm going to be so interested in how Eddie Howe uses him, because he's unlike almost any other player we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come. And for those who don't know, the man's like 6'6". He's a giant, but he's got little man skills.
Yeah.
People have compared him to Zlatan. Obviously, that is heresy.
Yeah, he's very skinny.
And you should.
He's not physically strong like Zlatan.
It's also like, I think we've taken Zlatan's name in vain
enough
times in this Voltemade.
very true.
Just put it apart. But he's not going to play the way Isak played. He's not going to play the way Callum Wilson played. He's not going to play that way. You're going to need different movements from your other wide players, whether it's Barnes or when Anthony Gordon returns from suspension. So I think that's why, Newcastle still, as we record this, trying to sign a more traditional striker as well.
Yeah, Yohan Wissa.
To go with him. But I'm excited to see him.
Oh, super excited.
He's a classic guy where you look at him and say either he's going to be a world beater or he's going to be an absolute bust.
Bust, I don't think so. But
not bust, but like sort of full Krug Mark II, just
Maybe,
with more
yeah.
in terms of productivity. Marseille play more than an hour with 10 men, but eventually fall in the Olympic derby. Jules, as Lyon sneaks it. Do they call it the Olympic Park derby? Or is it just
the Olympico.
The Olympico.
Yeah.
There you go. Jules, 3 wins in 3 for OL. Immediately after our boy John Texter stops running the club. Coincidence?
I don't think so, Gabby. You know how toxic it was when he was there. No, more seriously, really good. I mean, CJ and Riley gets sent off because he tries to win a foot race with Malik Fofana. You cannot beat Fofana running. It's impossible. So he's late. Last man, red card. It's completely deserved. And after that, Marseille defended well. And even in the second half, had a couple of moments where they could have got a smash and grab proper. In the end, it's a late own goal by Balerdi. That does it for Lyon. I think Lyon will take that. They have a young team with a lot of young players. No number 9 because they let Mikotadze go to Villarreal, which is a bit surprising. They're going to sign somebody today, of course, but still, they need to bring money in, and they have now. So at least Fofana should be staying, which is good because he's one of the best players in Ligue 1 and certainly Lyon's best player by far with Tolisso. But that's a good win, and you're right, it's 3-3, like PSG.
O'Reilly on his way for Marseille.
And yeah.
Does he move the needle?
To Marseille from Brighton. Yeah, because Rabiot is leaving, as we will mention in the next quick hit there. So they need somebody to play in that kind of number 10 organizer role kind of thing. And this was way back on Friday, but Milan win 2-0 at Lecce. And my boys, Christopher Nkunku and Adrien Rabiot, both Paris born and bred, of course, are on board too and on their way. Gab, what do you make of all of this?
I don't understand Milan. I mean, I can only understand it as a point. And people say, oh, look, there's different people pulling in different directions. I hope these are guys Allegri wanted. Obviously, he's worked with Rabiot before. Maybe he saw Nkunku on television. I don't know if there's like a vision. Oh, let's regenerate Nkunku.
So where is Nkunku playing?
I have no idea. I mean, honestly, I would assume... I would assume they're not. Obviously, they've been looking for a striker.
Yeah, but like a proper striker, right? Not like a Nkunku type of striker.
But that's not Nkunku, yeah,
exactly,
like you said.
Yeah.
And look, a second forward. Well, we have Pulisic who does that. It seems to me like they really are all over the place. Now, again, Allegri's his own guy.
Yeah.
If these are the people he wants, and you've decided, hey, we've paid Allegri so much money, he's such a big contract. Let's give him everything that he wants within reason, obviously. Then fine, and then Allegri will sink or swim.
Yeah.
But the point is that, and this is the problem that people need to understand, coaches leave before and clubs stick around. So tying yourself up in big amounts of money with these older players who don't really fit, I don't know. I genuinely, I don't know. I mean,
I'm with you.
They played better against Lecce. Santi Jimenez scored a goal that was disallowed, but I thought he looked a little sharper.
Yeah.
He might not be there by the time you listen to the show. It's a weird, messy situation. And Jerry Cardinale, how to win friends and influence people among Milan fans, man. Lille make history away to Lorient. Jules, tell us about it.
Yeah, they won 7-1. You can have a big win. The thing is, Gab, it was 0-0 at halftime. So Lille scored 7 goals in that second half. It's the first time this happened in a French top flight game, 7 goals in one half since Lyon scored 7 in the first half against Marseille back in 1997. They ended up winning 8-0 that game. Incredible. Without Olivier Giroud, by the way, who was not playing in that game. So wonderful attacking stuff from Lille. And I mean, you should have seen Gabi, the defending from Lorient. It's just like, I think I could have played and done better than.
And you're not really a defender. You're more like an attacking midfielder.
And I'm 45 years old next month. So like,
I was referring more to your tactical position.
Yeah, as well. Thank you very much. It was a rough weekend for Erik ten Hag, our favorite bald Dutch guy.
I don't know if he's our favorite. I mean, remember, Peter Bosch is bald and Dutch as well.
He's the gift that keeps on giving.
Okay. So according to the reports, he has already been sacked. 62 games into his tenure.
60 days.
They were 3-1 up with 26 minutes to go against Werder Bremen, who just had a guy sent off. Patrick Schick had scored. Everything's fine and dandy. And then it finishes 3-3. Koulibaly scoring in the 4th minute of injury time. But it's not just the goal to make it 3-3. It's the fact that Werder Bremen had so many chances in that same sequence to make it 3-3.
But he's not getting sacked because of that draw. There's more to it, obviously. It's because they had already doubts about him before that. Because Kovac is the same in that first Dortmund game, and they don't sack him after he's 3-1 up and end up drawing 3-3, right? You don't sack a manager because... I
never thought I'd say this, but Borussia Dortmund is
no, but you know what I mean?
grown-up club.
You sack him now after 60 days because you had doubts from the beginning in his training, what the players are saying, what you can see, and the results.
What you can see. I think I wouldn't be surprised if behind the scenes, maybe he threw a bit of a fit as well, because if you look at the talent that is left by Leverkusen,
true.
From Wirtz to Frimpong, Boniface almost leaving, now Hincapie as well, Granit Xhaka, Jonathan Tah. Maybe he was promised that different things in the window, maybe things got touched. I don't know. I'm sure these things will emerge because both sides will tell their story. But I will say this, whoever decided to hire him needs to really come out and convince me why they should keep the job.
We said from the beginning it was a dreadful appointment.
Well, it's fine, but the thing is, you have to at least give him time to work, or otherwise you take responsibility for, I was a complete moron for hiring this guy, and I will now resign.
Yeah.
No, honestly, it's the honorable thing to do.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's one of two things. Otherwise, this is absurd.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear people, look, in Germany we do things proper. We don't have Mr. Marinakis and all the John Texter. No, you don't. But you have some other weirdo who's worse in this case. And I don't say this because I'm defending Ten Hag, because, again, I don't think he should have been hired. But somebody needs to take ownership of this. Hopefully they will.
Definitely.
My boy Takumi Minamino gets the winner in the 7th minute of injury time for Monaco. Jules, this was another wild one in Ligue 1.
It was a great game against Strasbourg. Monaco with 2-0 up and then 2-2. Liam Rosinho, the Strasbourg manager, not happy at all with the refereeing, and he has a point. There was a penalty that was given for Monaco and not for Strasbourg for this literally the same incident. And he was really, really cross and angry. But his team, which is the youngest team, I think, in Europe in the top flight, still put such a great fight. Monaco are a good team. I know they can be on and off, but they're a good team. Flo Balogun was very good in that game, which is
nice to see him back.
Yeah, for the US men's national team, where he was in the squad. He wasn't in the first squad from Pochettino, was then added to the squad. That was a bit weird, but at least he's going to get there with some momentum. UEFA have announced that the Champions League final will kick off at 6 p.m. now rather than 9 p.m. as in previous years. Gab, is this a good idea?
At 6 p.m. Central European time.
Sorry. Yeah.
I think we disagree on this.
Yes.
I think it's good. I think you had situations. I mean, like, you want to talk, we can make fun of UEFA. They don't care about the fans. I was there with the UEFA people. They said this is partly on feedback from fans, and I can understand it. Getting back from certain stadiums in the middle of the night is really, really difficult. We had it at Champions League finals in Munich. We had it in Berlin, funnily enough, Istanbul. Yeah. I mean, we're there for ESPN. We usually have a van picks us up, but civilians, it's not the same thing.
No.
So it was done with that view. I think the sponsors also like it because now you have the opportunity after the game to go and you can actually go and celebrate and party, and it's not midnight when you get home. And everything's closed, as happens in some cities. You know this, because in Istanbul, we had to share something disgusting on the street at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's true.
Because Mark Ogden was hungry.
True, but then in Munich this year, with my own children, we still had plenty of time to party when we came back to the hotel after our team won the Champions League.
That's because your team, that Champions League final was over by halftime.
But my point is, this is the biggest game in the club season. this has to be played under the lights, not when the sun is still up. It's not the same feeling. And, because you and I, in our countries and our culture, the big games are in the evening, not like in the UK where you play at 4 o'clock and you've got your FA Cup final at 5 p.m. or 3 p.m. or whatever, because you love an afternoon kickoff. For us, it's different. And for me, I just love those games under the lights in the evening where you build up to the whole day and you get excited. Not when you have to leave the hotel at 2 to go to the game. Like, this is not for me. I hear you, though.
I see your point. I think the other constituents, we haven't mentioned, the police also prefer the earlier kickoff and everything. So yeah, we'll see. I'm good with it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked by Besiktas after they lost to Lausanne and failed to qualify for the Europa Conference League. Jules, are we going to see him ever again?
They lost to who? Lausanne from Switzerland. Yeah. Oh, my word. Hey,
wait, Lausanne, you know what that means? Ineos, Dave Brailsford.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Captain Jim,
he started well again, and then things very quickly didn't go well at all, and this is it. He deserved to be sacked. I don't know who would give him another go and why.
Well, his agent's very well connected.
Yeah,
I'm sure he can
maybe,
find
and he's a likable guy.
Norway.
I like him a lot. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. In an industry in a world where there's a lot of not nice people, he's a nice guy. You can be a nice guy and not a very good manager, and that's his case. So I don't know what's next for him. I really don't. Maybe maybe a national team somewhere, but even that.
Who are we going to see first, him or Van Nistelrooy?
I don't know. What about tell me about ex-Manchester United managers, please, and where they are now.
This is going to come up later. But yes, other than Ralph Rangnick, who I think is doing okay with Austria.
Yeah, I think we can say that.
Yeah, it's not been good. It's not been a good
Jamie
run.
Vardy has signed for Cremonese. Gab, I never thought I would say that.
Neither would I. It was so sweet. They had Cremonese, of course, we don't know, are a tiny club. They're just across the Po River from where the dad side of my family is from. So they have a special place in my heart. It's also where Gianluca Vialli's first club. And it's amazing. He arrived at the private Linate airport in the middle of the night, and there were 10 fans. And Cremona is not a big football town.
Not big, yeah.
There were 10 fans there. One of them, and a lot of them were wearing Leicester shirts. One of them actually had a Jamie Vardy tattoo, which is weird.
That was quick.
And no, it's because he became a Leicester fan in the Claudio Ranieri year. I had no idea if this is going to work out. I have no idea if he knows what awaits him. But good luck.
But I want Disney Plus to do a documentary, Fly on the Wall with the Vardis in Italy. I want to see Rebecca Vardy and Jamie, all the kids in Italy on a daily basis, what they do through the day. Please make it happen, Disney Plus.
More old-timers decamping to Serie A, Jules. Raul Albiol turns 40 on Thursday. But he signed for Pisa.
Am I eligible? 45 next month. Can I sign for something? I sign for anybody. Serie B, Serie C, anything. You can call me or call Gab, my agent, if you need anything. Pisa.
Look, I'll say this: there is a certain brand of large central defender who's good on the ball.
Yeah. In a team that's going to play quite deep, so he won't have to do much running.
That survive. Look, Sergio Ramos, right?
Absolutely.
He's still kicking around. We're going to talk about him in a minute. Hilton went on to play forever. Yeah. Dante as well.
That's very true.
Albiol is one of the most technically gifted defenders, I think, that we've seen in the last 10 years, 20 years. I mean, honestly, I'm not making fun for you, though. And it seems bizarre. Remember, Albiol signed for Real Madrid in the summer that they got Kaká and Cristiano Ronaldo. That is how crazy this is, right? I'll be watching. It's going to be fun to watch. But hey, if he's fit, he can contribute. He can still ping the ball on a dime. Yeah, that doesn't go away.
We could see 2 league games being played outside of Europe this year, Gab.
Yeah, so this is turning into quite a controversial thing. Now, obviously, Serie A have said, look, the Winter Olympics are being held in Milan. Milan can't play at home that weekend. They're playing Como. Let's have them play somewhere else. Where? How about Perth in Australia? Okay.
Just down the road.
And then La Liga, this has been a thing with Tebas for a long time. He said, okay, Villarreal against Barcelona. Let's go and play this in Miami, which, by the way, annoyed Real Madrid. And I do think Real Madrid kind of have a point.
Me too, completely.
Barcelona away is Villarreal away is really, really tough out in normal circumstances. Instead, they go to Miami, where you're going to have all the Messi maniacs, and it's going to be like a home
Barcelona
game.
fans everywhere, of course.
It's interesting because you have to have a bunch of sign-offs. So the Spanish FA have to sign off. The U.S. Soccer Federation has to sign off, which I think they will or already have. CONCACAF has to sign off.
Yeah.
UEFA have to sign off, and FIFA have to sign off. Now, the interesting thing is FIFA, CONCACAF, and the U.S. Soccer Federation obviously lost that lawsuit in the U.S. That was brought by Relevant Sports, who weirdly are also advisors to UEFA, but that's a whole other issue. So they can't really say no, or otherwise, risk further legal action.
Yeah.
So it's really only UEFA who stands in the way. UEFA have said, look, we're not going to just approve this on a one-off. We're going to get our executive committee together, and we're going to make rules about this going forward. So hopefully they do that, and hopefully it's in or out. Certainly the mood among the European Union, the European Commission, this has a huge impact on UEFA, is definitely no. There's a guy named Glenn McAuliffe, who I'd never heard of, but he's the commissioner for, you ready for this?
What?
Intergenerational Fairness, Youth, Culture, and Sport. And he says in European football is about strong community-based clubs. Moving competitions abroad isn't innovation, it's betrayal. Strong words.
Thank you,
And I
Glenn.
wonder in the current mood, given all the lawsuits in front of the European Court of Justice that FIFA are facing, I wonder if FIFA and UEFA are going to maybe take with this guy's words a little bit seriously. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that just because some court in the U.S. says, oh yeah, let them play, that they're going to green light this. Sergio Ramos has been keeping busy beyond playing for Monterrey, Jules.
Yeah, he has, Gab. He's just released his first song. Yes, that's right. He's him singing. I think it's a shame because I would have liked producer Freddie to play a bit if we had been allowed, but this is not ready. I'm not going to sing it because
I caught 15 seconds of this on his social because the song hadn't been fully released when I wrote this. The man doesn't have a voice.
No, he can't sing that way. But it's still his voice. That's what I mean.
No, yeah, I know, but
voice.
but it's. I mean, good for him. You sing out of joy because you have something to say and so on. But there's some athletes who've got very good,
really good
who've had
voices.
Proper voice training. I don't believe Sergio Ramos has. Just listen to it.
Good for him still if he wanted to sing.
It's called Cibeles, by the way.
Yeah, Cibeles, like obviously Cibeles in Madrid. He said that he never wanted to leave Real Madrid and all that kind of stuff. There's a big chunk on his love for Real Madrid and etc. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I was so surprised when I saw that dropping. Yeah, give it a listen. But Gab and I are not the biggest fan. More seriously now, a man has been arrested for his racist online abuse of England women's defender Jess Carter, and the authorities said that more arrests will follow.
Yeah, obviously the laws the way they are in the UK, these situations are punished. Online abuse is punishable with arrest, especially if it's racially motivated, as this was. What I find pretty extraordinary here, and maybe even more disappointing, isn't just the racist abuse, and obviously that's just the no-go always. But this guy, like others, the reason they were abusing Jess Carter and other England players is because they had bet on the game and England didn't perform the way they wanted them to, which is even more twisted.
Yeah.
I know it's a big. There are debates about free speech and whatever, and different countries have different laws and they approach this in different ways, and rightly so. But all I can say is I hope, if this is the right way to police this, I hope this acts as a deterrent, because they will find you and they will act. Jules, Jadon Sancho has a new home. This has been running all summer. United trying to get rid of him all summer.
Yeah.
He's on loan at Aston Villa. Villa will, according to a report by our colleague Rob Dawson, will cover 80% of his wages, plus there's another 20% in supposedly achievable bonuses. The interesting thing for me is that Jadon Sancho is a year away from free agency. So basically, another team's just going to play his salary for a year, and then he'll be free to go wherever he wants.
Yeah, that's been a disaster for Manchester United. His signing and the performances that he had for them, and then to find him clubs, like he's been in that bomb squad for a month or so. At the United training ground, not allowed to train with the first team, having to train at different times. So he won't be match fit yet for Villa. But Villa needed a wide player after Bailey had gone, Rashford went back, Ramsey had gone too.
Asensio.
Asensio not coming back either. So I guess they needed a player like him. Is it the answer? I'm not too sure.
It's a good deal. It's a really good deal for Sancho. First and foremost, because you still get paid, and you get to play, and if you do well, then you can still write your own ticket in the summer. And I think that's what stopped a lot of other moves. Other clubs were willing to take him, but they said, all right, well, we have to work out a multi-year deal in which you take a pay cut. Now he may still need to take the pay cut after this year, but for now, he's going to get paid full whack.